Hey guys, my name is Katie LaGuardia and my presentation is going to be on affirmative consent today. So what is affirmative consent? Affirmative consent is the idea that sexual consent can never be assumed. Whoever initiates a sexual encounter is responsible to ask their partner and receive a verbal consent of yes. You must get a verbal yes before engaging in sexual activity. Affirmative consent also means it is an informed, affirmative, conscious, voluntary, and mutual agreement to engage in sexual activity. If there is no affirmative consent, it is considered sexual misconduct. So some statistics. Some women ages 18 to 24 are at elevated risk of sexual assault. 1 in 5 women have also been sexually assaulted during their college years. And overall, 11.2% of all students experience rape or sexual assault through physical force, violence, or incapacitation. The It's On Us initiative was started by President Obama. It was launched in 2014, and this campaign sent guidance to college campuses and universities all over the country with federal funding on legal obligations on how to prevent sexual assault from happening. He developed practices on how to respond and prevent sexual assault, and he also reviewed existing laws to make sure they protected victims of sexual assault. This entire initiative just raised awareness for sexual assault on college campuses. His plan also emphasized some tips on how to be a part of the solution to stop sexual assault. Some included not being a bystander, so if you see something that doesn't seem right, you should intervene in any way possible. You should trust your gut. If a situation seems off or funky, it's probably because it is. You should also be direct. Seek help whenever needed. Keep an eye on somebody who also has had too much to drink. That's a really important one, especially living here on campus. People are always going out to the bars and parties, frat parties, and it's important to stay in groups if you go out with your girlfriends or you go out in a group of friends, and to keep an eye on each other. And also, obviously, be aware of your surroundings. So some things that nobody talks about is we hear so much with this idea of affirmative consent of just saying no, say no when you feel uncomfortable. And sometimes it isn't always that easy. No one ever really tells you how to actually say no. You know, you sometimes may be in a relationship or with someone for a while, and you don't necessarily know how to say no to that person without feeling like you're being victimized by them. So there's this article that I found from Bustle, and it talks about 12 ways to say no gracefully, and then it also talks about the importance of how you should be able to hear the word no, and 8 ways to also hear no. So some of them include in the charts here that I'm not so into that, but you go have fun. I want to be in connection with you, but that doesn't work for me. Can we do this instead? Not tonight, no thank you, not today, that's not going to work. It's important to make sure that people feel comfortable in saying no. Sometimes there's that awkwardness of, well, how do I say no? And throughout this article, they talk a lot about stories from girls not necessarily knowing how to say no or what to do exactly in that situation. It also talks about 8 ways to hear the word no. And some of them include, I appreciate knowing where your boundary is. Thank you for taking care of yourself. No problem. I still love you. It's very important to make your partner feel comfortable and not make them feel ashamed for saying no or make them feel bad about it, because it is essentially all about you feeling comfortable as a person. So some things to also remember when it comes to affirmative consent is you always have the right to say no at any time. Consent to one type of sexual activity does not give consent for another one, and it can also be revoked or withdrawn at any time during a sexual encounter. And consent cannot be given whatsoever to a person if they are incapacitated. And silence does not mean consent. So lastly, what I just want to leave with everybody is be aware of the consent rules on our college campus. Before we all started the semester, we all had to take our Title IX training where we watched video after video and heard stories from rape victims and victims of sexual assault. And it's very important that we understand that this is an issue across the country right now, and we keep hearing about it all throughout the media day in and day out. And it's very important to understand your rights and understand how to basically be safe and not get taken advantage of. So that is it for my presentation. Thank you guys.